Oh, welcome back, guys. G Funky Boxing. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. Being joined by my man, 97 Rough from Leaving the Ring. What's going on, man?
Good, brother. Just hot. It's getting hot over here in Northern California.
Oh,
So just
indeed.
trying to survive the heat wave that is coming at us this later this week.
Indeed, man. Yeah, we took a little time off, man. I've been busy with work and the kids. My man here was actually on vacation, a well-deserved
Hell
vacation,
yeah,
you know?
brother. Hell
So,
yeah. I was
yeah.
enjoying the sun rays up in Long Beach, and then made the sad mistake of going to go visit. We went to go visit Mickey Mouse,
Ah,
but
there you go.
returned back to the beach in Santa Cruz, and then I got sick.
Aye, yeah, that's never good on vacation. But hey, at least you got some time off. But guys, we got a special guest with us tonight. All right. From Bakersfield, California, 17-time national champion, Joel Iriarte. Let's give him a hand, guys. All right. Joel, thanks for joining us, man.
No, thank you for having me, guys. Very, very appreciate you guys' time, for looking out and being able to have me on your guys' podcast.
Yeah, man. We love talking boxing with the fighters. And, you're an amateur. You're getting ready to turn professional this year, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. We feel like me and my dad, I'm 20 years old. I started when I was 5 years old, 15 years in the game. We just feel like 300 amateur fights, 17 national titles, international competition. I want to say two gold medals, a bronze, and we feel like represented the U.S. for 4 years, and we feel like it's about that time we make that transition. So, hey, we're ready. I'm ready. I've always staying ready. A lot of people are like, hey, you don't get fat, you don't take breaks, and I'm that guy that's always in the gym, staying in shape. My physique is, always up there. So, we feel like it's about a good time to make that transition.
I thought you were describing me for a second. I'm just kidding, man. All right. I want to say what's up to the guys in the chat. Round one, the GOAT, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz and more. Thank you guys for being here again. 17-time national champion here, Joel Iriarte, joining us live. So, Joel, I want to ask you something, man. You said you started boxing when you were 5 years old. Jesus, that's young. How did that happen at 5 years old? Was it your idea? Was it somebody else's idea in your family to bring you to the gym? How did this happen, man?
Well, I was 5 years old. I feel like from up until 3 years old, you're really just a being, in the universe. You don't really have a lot of comprehension of what's going on. But I feel like at 5 years old, I don't know why boxing was like what caught my eye. It was just kind of what I fell in love with over time. But it was like what caught my eye right away. These team sports, soccer, basketball, things like that. I feel like I've always thought them as like like overrated, like over too much too much people around that stuff. And I was kind of drawn to like individual sports, and let alone combat training. I felt like it was going to be something that I was going to excel in, being that it was like an individual. Everything was kind of in my hands. I didn't have to depend on like a team or these little things to win competition. And I feel like over time it was only a matter of time for me to just kind of grow as an athlete, grow as a person. And I'm very thankful for everything that boxing has brought into my life. And yeah, I feel like that's what's been my journey like so far at 5 years old. I feel like there's not much you can describe of what you thought of. It was, oh, you know what it was the I had seen a Karate Kid movie. I was watching the Karate Kid movie, and that's kind of what triggered it as well. Apart from it just being something that caught my eye.
Yeah.
That's always what it is, huh? It's the movies, man, that gets us young boys. We want to go out and start kicking people and all that type of stuff. We have a question already in the chat. The GOAT here wants to ask you, what was the how old were you when you had your first amateur fight?
Yeah, so I'd been boxing for some time. I don't think you can start actually having sanctioned, be under USA Boxing sanctioned fights until you're 8 years
Right, your
old.
books.
So yeah, so I had a a couple couple of years in the game before I actually started competing.
Okay,
Years
yeah.
old.
They started right out, man. Damn.
I like
So,
your influences. 'Cause I'm big on Salvador Sanchez and Benito Lopez. Tell
oh
us a
yeah.
bit about that, bro. Do you watch? I mean, 'cause obviously you had mentioned them in a previous interview.
Yeah.
Do you watch them and try to mimic them, or do you watch them just because of the fluency that they had in the ring?
Yeah, I feel like it's super important as athletes, as people, to have your own style. Be your own person, be unique, and as much as possible. And so I did. Those two fighters are some of the fighters that I kind of just, yes, not mimicked, but I did take a lot of their strengths, a lot of their well, it's just strengths, a lot of things that they excelled in when they came to the professional fighting. And then I took a lot of their flaws as well, things that I saw that, maybe, this could work better if I did this instead, or, oh, they're getting caught with this. So I saw a lot of, their pros and then some of their cons. But overall, yes, it was more of their fluency, them being able to, what does Bruce Lee say? Like, move like water, right? They're super
Right.
calm, super mobile in the hips, right? Being able to kind of just throw on, they're just reaction, whatever they saw to eye, they kind of just shot from there. So it was more of that, what caught my eye from those fighters.
What
Yeah,
caught my eye with those guys was just how, like you mentioned, how calm they were, but like their poker face. You never really knew if they were hurt or what they were thinking. In a lot of ways, it looked like it was just like everything was done by second nature. But that's just so hard to do for anybody to step in the ring, is to anticipate what the other guy is going to do, and not kind of give the expressions of your game plan through your eyes. Those guys were so hard to read, man. That's what I loved about Salvador. He was just so difficult to read when you watched him in the ring.
Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. I agree.
Yeah. And one of in my opinion, the greatest fighter to come out of Mexico, man,
Oh,
Salvador
yeah.
Sanchez,
Yeah.
accomplished so much at a very young age. So
There you go.
yeah.
Gonna get the Canelo fans started, G-Funk.
Oh boy. You know I'm the number one Canelo hater on YouTube. So yeah, man. So I want to ask you this, man, and actually I just want you to tell the fans.
Yes, sir.
Tell them what weight class you're gonna make your debut in, because we were joking about this before we went on, guys. What weight class you're gonna make your debut, and tell them your dimensions, man. They have to hear this, man.
Yeah, so I'm 6'1" and some change, like 6'3/4", but I try to keep it humble. 6'2", I could say, but I'm 6'1", and I'm on debut at 140. 140. It's
140. Gee.
yeah,
Jesus Christ, man.
yeah, I'm pretty lengthy.
Man, this guy is gonna be a monster at 140, man. About 6'2". Jeez, man. You're gonna be the second towering inferno, man, like Fandor at 54.
Like
Diego, Diego Corrales at one. Well, he was 6'1" at 135, man.
Yeah.
So you're right up there with him.
That's
Yeah,
crazy,
it's
man.
possible. It's possible. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, Bruce Gass here is a good historian here on YouTube, and he says Hearns Jr. Yeah, indeed, man. Hearns,
most
another
definitely.
guy,
Yeah,
6
super
foot tall, fought at welterweight. So,
Yeah.
17-time national champion. I mean, that's a lot. You said 300 amateur fights. That's a lot of work in the amateurs, man. So I want to ask you this, man. You've got all kinds of different Pan American games. You've won international tournaments. Just tell us a couple things, man, that really stand out on your amateur journey, winning so many national championships, man.
Yeah, it's definitely been, an experience for me. A lot of growth, a lot of just lessons in life that have made me overall a better person as well. You never take any. I mean, I feel like those are the important things in life. Growing, from mistakes, from all these, all these things that show up in your life. Adversity. So it's been a journey for me for sure. I feel like 17 national titles. I had my first national title at 11 years old. It was in one of the national Golden Gloves, the junior Golden Gloves. And I feel like from there, gaining that confidence, that little bit of confidence, thinking to myself, well, this is possible. And having so much fight, so much experience has, helped me progress through through the boxing journey, smoothly. I feel like consistently I was growing. I was learning from my mistakes. If I lost, I have so much amateur fights because when I was younger, I would fight every weekend. Every weekend we would go out to fight, whether it was local shows, big tournaments monthly. And over time, I just, I was able to make those changes, adapt to, different styles, make those adjustments, correct my mistakes. And my dad alongside with me, he was a big part of that. And, all these big nationals started flowing in. My confidence started to go, rise. I started to, just kind of grow in the sport. And, I can't say, that it hasn't been, anything hasn't, it hasn't been easy, but all that hard work that we put in behind it was kind of paying off with all those nationals, with all the internationals. When I started to make the USA team and go to the Olympic Center, having better sparring out there with those guys, then kind of going into spar professional fighters and getting quality work, kind of all just fit in perfectly with how my career was developing. And growing like that, it's it's been kind of one of the keys to my success. And I feel like we've been able to represent the U.S. in Colombia. In Guadalajara, I got my gold medal. I went to Hungary, fought the international tournament out there. We fought Japan, different countries. You get a taste of different styles in boxing. It's not just it's not just one-dimensional fighters. It's fighters with a lot of experience, fighters that hit you with shots that you never even thought were possible to shoot from different angles. So it's just definitely been a lot of growing, a lot of personal growth. Being able to, like I said, correct those mistakes fast. Fast, very very fast, and it's been fun. It's been fun. And
how was the transition been working out for you guys from sitting on your punches more? Have you felt that that's been a little difficult to kind of readjust your footwork and hand speed and everything, so for better placements of your punches? Because I know in the amateur it's a point game, in the pros it's I want to KU, get you out of their game.
Yeah, it's been it hasn't been too much of a challenge. I feel like boxing and when it comes to athletics, it all goes hand in hand. Yes, it's just how you kind of use your style. I feel like if you're fighting a pressure fighter, you still kind of have to use those points in a sense. You have to be quick, light on your feet, shoot from the hips, and just be very fluid as a fighter. And I feel like all of that is kind of, it all plays together hand in hand. You're in the amateurs and you fight someone that moves a lot. You kind of have to go in a little bit more, be super slick, and sit down on your punches a little bit more. So I feel like it's all within the same. It all correlates in itself, whether it's amateur, whether it's professional. I feel like there's a lot more time, so you can be more patient, you can relax more, you can sit down on your punches. But you being able to have that IQ and have that patience and that discipline within yourself, in with a longer time frame, and not get desperate or kind of get frustrated with all that time on your hands. It just kind of it's just how you play it, how you play your cards, how you play your training, and being able to grow in confidence over time, as going through the professional style. I feel like,
I don't know if because we were talking earlier in backstage, and we're bringing up about social media, and you were like, I'm not really a lot on it. But Timothy Bradley said on the 3 Knockdown Rule, Steve Kim's podcast, about dads there should be a cutoff with their fathers training their sons. When you heard something, I don't know if you listened to that, and if you did, what were your thoughts about him saying there should be a cutoff? Because what I was hearing was Timothy saying, like, I should have had my dad train me. I didn't have my dad train me. But I see a lot of successful fathers in the game. I know it's been like a taboo back in the 80s and even in the early 90s. Used to be said like, oh, their dad shouldn't be part of it. But I look at, like Joe Calzaghe. I look where he got his son. Even like Tio Lopez. Look where his father's got him. Yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when people say, things like that, it's kind of a sensitive topic for them as far as, their dad kind of not being a part of their game because, dads are strong. They're your father figure, they're a very important role model in your life. And when your dad shows up to, the gym and is very, very hard on you, and then you go back home and then he's your dad, you have those little bickers because he was kind of rough on you during practice, and then he's your dad back home, and you want him to just be your dad and, be kind of nicer. That's where it kind of plays an effect, and that's where
Right.
those two kind of, clash a little bit. But for me, I feel like me and my dad have had a very, very strong connection. Me and my dad are, he's my best friend. He's, I talk to him. I spend a lot of time with him. There's, the connection we have outside of the ring plays a big part inside of the ring as well. I have a lot of trust in what he says in my corner, and I feel like even if he says something that may kind of be in between of what I think in the ring, I'll find the opening. I find the opening. I find what I can use from his words, and we kind of just work. We work as very well. We work very well together. So it hasn't been an issue on my in my life. It hasn't been an issue in my career. But I can see how people can say that, but I feel like that's more of like a personal issue in regards to their fathers. I feel like fathers are one of the only people that will actually genuinely care for you, whether you're doing good or you're doing not so good in
Right.
life, and they'll always be there for you. And my dad has shown that, and he's been my supporting me through it all. He sacrifices a lot for me, and there's I feel like I owe my dad my life, so I feel like our connection is super strong, and I kind of just use that as motivation as well.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
well
right on.
said, man.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about leading into your pro debut. Do you have a date yet and an opponent for the
Uh,
debut?
no, not yet, brother. I'm making those. We're kind of just right now. We're working on making the best move on the board right now. You know what I mean? We have offers. We have potential fight dates. We have everything that kind of just goes into just making that pro debut already. But it's kind of just right now like, okay, which one is it? Which one is gonna be more convenient to us as as fighters, as for our long term career, right? We're kind of just making that final finishing touches to making that big step, and we just want to go into our pro debut, into our career, knowing that we made the best possible decision. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But it could be announced anytime, anytime right, soon. So I'm just kind of just having the people just waiting right now patiently. So in the upcoming days, I'll probably release some information on that.
All right. Well, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out it on Instagram. Guys, follow him. Give everybody your where they can find you on Instagram, man.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Joel Iriarte, JoelIriarte underscore at the end.
There it is, man. So he's gonna be, like you said, it could happen at any time. So, yeah, we look forward to it, man, and hopefully there's some sort of outlet to where we can, watch it. Because nothing like a good fight for a junkie like me, man. I love watching boxing. I don't care what day it is, what time. I'm gonna try to watch it, man. Me and my co-host here. Sometimes we get up. What is it? 2, 3 in the morning. We watch the fights in Japan. So.
Oh yeah. I can
Yeah,
attest to that. Hey, I've called G Funky a few times, and when he answers, if there's an echo, and I'm like, "Are you in the bathroom, Vato?" He goes, "Yeah, the fights are on."
yeah, I'm like that too. When Franco fought, I think in Japan, it was like at 3 in the morning. I was like, oh
Yep.
my god. But yeah, I'm excited for everyone to hopefully catch that debut. Hopefully it's televised. I feel like it's gonna be a breakthrough in talent. I feel like everyone's gonna um,
Are you signed to a promoter? Has
huh?
the promoter signed you?
No, not yet, not yet. That's what we're waiting on right now. That's kind of like
Okay.
what we're in right now. That little part right
Window.
now. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. Having a good promoter is very important in this thing, man. So hopefully you
100%.
guys get picked up by someone that puts you out there and does a good job of promoting you, man. But I want to ask some real quick questions here. Obviously, you've been through the the amateur rankings. You've like you said, we've covered that already. So who are some of the best guys? You know, just a few guys, just a few names that are currently professional that you have fought in the amateurs. Who are some of the best guys?
Or
As
even sparred.
Yeah, or even sparred too.
from amateur fighters.
Yeah.
As far as amateur fighters go, I sparred a lot. I sparred with Xander Zayas right in the Olympic Center. I've sparred with Kishan. I've sparred with everyone. I think Castro's coming up right now. We've sparred with a lot of fighters that kind of climbing that ladder. Um, we sparred. Who else? Everyone that's been kind of in the Olympic Center. We've sparred with. So it's been cool. It's been a lot of help. It's been a lot of how can I say? It's been kind of what's made me grow as a fighter as well. Being in the Olympic Center, having that competition from amateur rankings, those fighters going to the Olympics and then making that transition as a professional is kind of just that's what's that's the type of sparring. Those are some of the guys.
What's the toughest thing for you to work on? Because I know, boxing is a boring sport. I mean, people that haven't got involved going to the gym, they always think that it's automatically you're throwing the ring and you start fighting. There's a lot of repetitive stuff you have to do to get in the position where you're at. What would you say is hard for you to get up and motivate to do?
So your question is like kind of what's been like the most difficult?
Yeah, what's the one thing that you and your dad have to work on that you always dread? Like, fuck, I don't want to do that. I know some fighters, like I've talked to some fighters, they're like, road work, bro. I hate road work.
The people hate running. Yeah.
Honestly, I hate to say it, because it's gonna sound like with this guy, But for me, I love that stuff, bro. I'm the one to be up at 5 a.m. doing my strength and conditioning, and then going at 12 and doing all those 10 miles, right? 10 miles straight, 10 miles up the mountain, whatever it is, strength work, speed work, boxing work, all that stuff people hate to do. I feel like for me, it's really not much of an issue for me. I love that stuff. I feel like I get better every time I'm in the gym, and that's kind of what I love. What I love about it. The one thing that, as all fighters, we probably all hate is cutting weight. Cutting weight is definitely the one thing that we. I'm sure I speak for a lot of fighters that, making that weight on the scale is kind of the first battle for the fighters, and it's pretty. There's a lot of temptation, but it's that matter of discipline.
Oh man.
But, for sure, that's
every fighter I've ever known and spoke to has said it's the weight cut that is the worst thing for preparing for a fight. I actually had a local fighter at my house last night, and he was supposed to fight this weekend, and the fight got pulled. His opponent pulled out. And he's here and he's like, oh, I get to eat, so he's eating all the snacks that I had out and everything. So yeah, man, cutting weight it's not easy, man. You guys out there understand that. A lot of you guys are hard on these fighters when they miss weight. It's hard, man. It is not easy to do. So I just have one more thing I want to ask. So Dave, if you have anything else, go ahead, man.
Oh, I mean, yeah. What is it that you do to turn off boxing for a little bit? I know it sounds like you and your dad are 24/7 boxing, but it's got to be something else that kind of catches your eye and gives you a break from the sport. What do you do? What do you do other than that outside of the sport?
Yeah, man, boxing is my fun now, but I love training. But I spend a lot of time just kind of picking up other things. I'm not big on video games. I'm not big on these kind of going out and stuff like that. I'm a homebody. I like to be at home. I like to learn new skills. So right now I play the guitar and the accordion, and I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of learning, a lot of studying. I'm going back to school. Right. I'm just 20 years old, so I'm being enrolled in school. Yeah, and then I also volunteer. I work at. I do some boxing, little training stuff as a coach for some of the special needs kids.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you that, man, because that hits home with me. That was the last thing I wanted to ask you about. So, my daughter has special needs. She has cerebral palsy. But you work with, like you said, children with special needs. So before we let you go, man, because I know you're in the middle of training, like you said, you got to get your rest and everything. I don't want to keep you too long, but really, I want to know about that, man, and let the fans watching know as well.
Yeah, well, I'm super big on on just being a positive role model, impacting lives in any way that I can. I felt like growing up, as soon as I kind of hit 18, 19, I was like, damn, I would love to just pass on, whether it's a skill, whether it's make someone's day for a little bit. So I kind of just got involved with my gym. It's my gym is an organization that teaches speed and strength and their strength and conditioning, and we kind of just they were like, we could use a boxing coach to run classes for it's called League of Dreams, and it's an organization that provides special needs kids with exercises, with little fun activities that makes them have a feel of what normal kids do. You know what I mean? Whether that's training, whether that's doing little fun activities, and I'm involved with that. It's one of my passions, to be involved with that, to make a small impact on kids like that. They go in there, and I go in there, I walk in there, and they just light up. I see them every week on Saturdays, and they just light up when they see me. Like, oh, and if I don't show up because I have a sparring the next week, they'll be like, hey, where were you? You know what I mean? Where were you? We missed you. Where were you to run the class? So it's definitely heartwarming when kids like that, we impact their lives, we make them feel normal, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me. For some of the coaches, that might be a little frustrating because you have to be more patient, but I'm one of those people that's just kind of has a little soft spot when it comes to that. I'm very, very big on that, being having a big impact on other people's lives, especially lives like that. I feel like every kid deserves a shot to feel important, feel valued. So that's my experience on that.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
awesome.
that is
Yeah.
outstanding, man. And
Yeah.
you said something in the middle of everything that you had just said that really does work, man. My daughter in the school district here where we live, they integrate general ed students with special needs kids in the program that my daughter's in, and it does make a difference. You said that. You said, let them be around people that don't have the same things that they do, and it does inspire them. It does make them want to do things. It does encourage them to do things when they see other people doing it, man. So that's fantastic, man. I take my hat off to you, and continue the good work, man. It really does make a difference.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, they're kind of in that environment. It's a big group, so they always see kids that have the same issues that they have, and they see one another. They push each other. Sometimes they have bad days.
Right.
Sometimes they walk
Yep.
in there and they're struggling throughout the day, but they're all the same. They're all kind of similar in some aspects, and one another, they'll go in and they'll comfort each other. One of us will as coaches, myself, I'll go in and I'll comfort them as well, and we'll make that little adjustment and pick up their mood and kind of just get through the day. But in a better, they'll leave the day and they'll feel a lot more energetic. They'll feel a lot happier that they
Yep.
came and kind of just did that, had that little experience. And that's it for me. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of making their day, making their week. Having a little impact like that is a big difference for me.
It's great, man. It is,
Man,
man.
it
And they go.
sounds like your dad did a phenomenal job with you, man. And your whole family,
Appreciate it. Right?
included,
Yeah.
do that. That's awesome, bro. That's really.
And we'll be keeping an eye out for you, man. Pro debut coming up.
Mhm.
Again, follow my guy. Give him the social medias again, brother, before we let you go.
Yes, sir. On Instagram, Joel Iriarte, JOELIRAARTE _.
I got one last question. Is that cool?
Got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. I know we've heard about your dad. What about the rest of the family? Mom, is she involved?
1,000%, right? My mom is definitely involved. My mom's, one of my biggest motivations. She's also, my dad was super strong. I have two extremes at the house. My dad is super strong, and my mom is, the kindest soul you ever meet. The best role model for me as a child growing up, right? Just a perfect example as a mother. She kind of stayed home and raised us. She was a stay-at-home mom for the longest, and growing up, she had very few mistakes. As a kid growing up, she didn't go out, like, she kind of just she was a perfect example as a kid as well. She did a phenomenal job as a mother, and we have a super strong connection. I have a super strong connection with her as well as my siblings. She's, our rock here at the house for sure. She doesn't kind of, she's kind of in the, in the bag because she's super shy. She kind of doesn't like to see me spar so much because, I'm her son. What mother likes to see
Right.
their son get hit or whatever, whether I'm still doing a fantastic job. She's kind of just, but she's always supporting. She's always been my biggest supporter. But yeah, man, that's my mom. I can't say, I have no words, to be honest, to say how thankful I am for her, right? How thankful I am for my parents. There's really no words that can describe it. It's priceless. And
they did a
they
good job, man.
motivation.
I gotta commend your parents, and let them know they did. Sound like they've done a fantastic job with you. 20 years old, though. Influences outside of the home and in the ring. How difficult is that for you? Because I'm pretty sure you've had some homeboys be like, "Come on, bro, you could skip 1 week. Come on, try some of this, weed or whatever, or have a drink, live a little bit."
Yep.
I mean, I know I've heard that, right? Do you cut those guys off immediately if they don't understand what your goal is in life, what you're trying to lead yourself to?
It's definitely an issue. It's definitely an issue, and I've seen it so much happen in my gym where kids are doing so. As little kids, you're always like, what, I'm never gonna do that. But as you get older, you kind of just like, damn, man, I'm all this discipline, all this sacrifice. I have to have, I have to try that. I have to experience that to find out. But for me, it was just kind of you do hit an age where you're just like, damn, am I really missing out? Am I really kind of doing all this? And
you're not.
missing out.
Just tell you right now, you're not.
No, yes. I know for sure. You kind of you're at school and everyone's like, you're kind of stuck up for not kind of going out with us just 1 day out of the week or 1 day out of the month. You're kind of too busy on training and stuff like that. But for me, I kind of just accepted. How can I say? I kind of just accepted my fate as a boxer, where I wanted to be in life and what it took. Right, it was kind of up to me to figure that out. And thankfully, I had a great team behind me, a fantastic team that kind of just influenced me in the right direction. I never really struggled with that type of stuff. It never really caught my attention to be outside to do these kind of these things. Matter of fact, when I would even go to the movies, on a weekend because I finished my training early, if I would go to the movies, I felt to myself like, am I like slagging? I could be in the gym working on things that I'm messing up on. You know what I mean? So
Right.
for me, it was kind of just this is what I want to do. This is what it's gonna take, and I'm all for it. I'm all for putting in the sacrifice. I can do all this stuff later in life if on a bigger scale. If I really wanted to, once all that stuff pays off. But it's not in me. That's not my. Those are my morals. I'm super faithful. I feel like I'm super faithful, and I kind of just put all my. I kind of live my life like if there's a camera watching because God's always watching. I feel like that's kind of what I am.
Yeah.
I'm big on that. So that's yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth right there, man. And look, sounds like you got a tremendous backing with your family. That's very important, man. I've seen a lot of guys come and go at your level because they just don't have the support and they just give up, man. So it seems like you got a good support system. And we'll be definitely looking out, man, to see the pro debut and your future fights after that as well, man. We'll definitely reach out to Emily and we'll get you back on again, man, after a couple fights, bro. Does that sound good?
Perfect, man. Perfect. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys' time and everything.
Absolutely.
For having me on. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys, getting to know you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Well, hey,
to be back on.
Good luck, man, on the pro debut, and we'll talk again soon, man. Get some rest and get back at it in the morning, brother.
Perfect, man. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.
You too.
All right,
brother.
let's give him a hand, guys. Iriarte. Good job, brother. Have a good one, man. Wow, what a tremendous kid, man. That is,
bro.
Man,
I was trying to hide my horns. After talking to him, I was like, God damn, I thought. No, that's awesome that he's got his head on his shoulder and he understands what his purpose and where he's, heading to. Hearing some folks in the boxing world saying like, oh, dads, they need to stop and blah, blah. I think it goes with anything. I've seen fighters have their trainer since they were 9 years old. And, they hit their peak together, they hit their ceiling, so I don't think it's always entirely dads. Yeah, dads get overly emotional sometimes and not make the right decisions. But we've seen managers do that. We've seen other trainers that have no relations with the fighter not do that. Allow a fighter to be in the ring a little too long and too late. So I think it really boils down to the individual's relationship with the father. Because I could think of plenty of fighters that have had bad and spoiled relationships with their fathers that didn't work out. Mosley with his father, Jack. But then you have fathers that have worked out great, which is, again, like Joe Calzaghe and his father, Lomachenko and his dad, that have done very well. Danny Garcia and his father, Angel Garcia. You may not like them personally, but they've done very well. Robert Guerrero and Ruben.
I was just going to say, let's not forget about Ruben, all right?
Think about this. Robert left his father because he was being, he was being told by his promoter at the time, hey, I think you topped your ceiling. Let's try to bring somebody else in. And they bring Joe Goosen. I think it was Joe Goosen they brought in. If it isn't, I apologize, Joe, if it wasn't you, but I'm pretty sure it was. And Robert gets his first loss.
Yeah.
Bring the dad back, and he's redeemed, and he starts winning again, getting all these winning streaks and stuff. So I think Timothy, should have been careful what he was saying about fathers, because he forgets all the great relationships and great wins a lot of fathers have had with their sons. Yep.
Good point, man. Great point, man. That's why I like having you on, man. You remember a lot of stuff that I forget, and same with me, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's, hey man, that's not me, man. I don't do this.
Right.
That ain't me, bro. That's somebody else, So anyways, speaking of father trainers, almost every fighter we're going to talk about tonight has a father trainer. But real quickly, Dave, I want to get your thoughts on this. I remember we talked on the phone the other day. You said you want to do some quick takes, and that's what we're going to do tonight, man, on these topics. But a real quick take on this one. Tyson Fury has a fight, and it's not against a professional boxer. He's taking on a UFC MMA guy. I don't know where he's fighting. I stopped watching MMA years ago, but I believe his name is Francis Ndongo or Ndano or something like that.
I wouldn't even know. I don't follow UFC.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people frown at me when they like, you don't watch UFC. I'm like, no, I don't. It's just not my cup of tea. I respect the game. Don't get me wrong. I respect the athletes because, again, they're athletes. And anybody that subjects themselves to get punched in the face or anything like that, you got to respect them, right?
Yeah.
But, bro, it's just so hard for me to sit there and watch UFC, MMA, because I'm a boxing head, I like technique. And I'm saying these guys, they had technique when they're on the ground. I wrestled for years, but I don't tune in to watch that. You know what I mean? Unless I'm like at a high school, rooting for my kids, I get into it. I have to be there physically to watch it or I get into it. But watching it on television, for me, it just does absolutely nothing. And when I see guys that are trying to do their strike game, because that's what they call it, it's very difficult for me not to be critical of that. I'll be like, damn, who taught this guy how to throw a left hook? And I don't want to be that guy that's surrounded by a bunch of MMA guys and kind of like, spoiling, milk in their party or pouring milk into their beer. I don't want to be that guy. So I don't watch the sport.
Right, man. Like the only thing that, at least for me, right, is at least we get to throw some shit back in the MMA fans' face when Tyson Fury beats this dude up. All right, because that's exactly what's going to happen, guys. It's going to be a real boxing match. It's not going to be an exhibition, from my understanding. So yeah, he's going to get his ass kicked. All right, there's just no way around it. We know it, and hopefully I can run into some guys who are willing to drop a little money on the line. There's some guys that I know on Facebook that are into the MMA. One guy actually does the Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff, and he's really into it. So we'll see if he's willing to drop some dough on the line, because I'm pretty damn confident Tyson Fury is going to wreck this dude and wreck him easy. Maybe
I think
he's
going to have fun with it.
He might carry him some rounds. Yeah.
Because what I heard is that the MMA heavyweight, ex-heavyweight, is a big power puncher.
Yeah, that's what people in the chat are saying, that he's got power. Well,
right.
Gotta be able to land. Gotta be able to land.
Gotta be able to land that punch. And what's so funny is that I always get people, because we both live in Northern California, which is really the mecca of MMA. San Jose was where I'm from. Is the mecca. We had so many MMA coming on the train at the AK gym, etc. Right. But it always gets me. It's always the conversation of like, well, if boxing was run by Dana White, you guys would get all the best fights. And this is like, what are you guys talking about? We've had so many phenomenal fights. Are they commercial fights? No. Could boxing do better marketing? Absolutely. But we get so many great fights, and really condition boxing fans to believe this, that we don't get the best fighting the best. And then I bring up to them, but what about your champions? Why are your champions so eager to run away from their own sport to make money? See, I mean, there's pros and cons of our sport that you see fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney fighting over a percentage of the purse. Rightfully so, though. They're prize fighters. That's why they're called prize fighters. They're not slave workers. Where I look over at UFC and Dana has all control of what these guys are going to make. It's a sweatshop over there.
Yep.
And these guys are struggling to get out of the sweatshop to finally smell some real money, some real dough. So I always say, before you guys start speeding down our lane, why don't you pump the brakes and fix your guys' sport? Because maybe you are getting all the fights that you as a fan wants, but there's obviously trouble in the hen house because your eggs are hatching and they want to get the fuck out of there pretty quick.
I love it. Let's give my man a hand for that one. That was beautiful. And you're absolutely right, man. When boxing comes calling these MMA guys, they look at Dana White and they say this.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
They're out of there. All right. They're out of there in no time. So Tyson's going to beat the shit out of this guy, man. And hopefully, like I said, there might be a few brave souls on the MMA side that want to drop some money on that. I'm taking Fury all day, but let's move on. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's move on. The big news of the weekend that just passed, man. And it's unfortunate news, but it is news. Vergil Ortiz was forced out of the fight by the Texas Athletic Commission due to it being unsafe for him to make weight, 147 pounds. From what I've been hearing, he had to be resuscitated. That is not good, guys. That is not good. This fight has been snake bitten. This is the third time it's been canceled. The first time Vergil had the rhabdomyolysis. Second time Stantionis had to get had appendicitis or something like that. Had to have it removed, which is a pretty common thing, but still, that's going to take some time to recover. And then again, Vergil here struggling to make weight, severely dehydrated. I'm going to ask you the question, and everybody in the chat as well. Is Vergil done, man? Is this the end of the road as far as in the ring goes with Vergil Ortiz?
I hope not, but it's hard to say. Obviously we don't have all the facts of what's going on with this young man's body. Obviously there's more going on behind the scenes. Can't make it, couldn't make weight. He fainted, dehydrated. He's struggling to make 147. It makes me wonder that, why they even attempt to try that. I think that they're trying to conquer that. I think it's time then, if that's the case, they move on to 154 and we see from there if this corrects all the problems this young man's been having. But again, I think it's too soon to assume anything. I think that they just have to, reevaluate and in my opinion, maybe look at some real strength and conditioning coaches to work with this guy and a real person that knows how to feed him, what to put in his food and properly rehydrate him correctly.
That's it.
Because the one thing about boxing is it's sad that the sport, normally the coach is the one that takes care of everything, what the supplements that go into his fighter. He's the guy that's cooking at home and feeding the fighter. He's the one that's, overseeing what he does to make weight. And it should be an overall team to do that. But the money there isn't there, for startup guys. But you would think with Vergil, there should be a little bit more money, or should it be a burden for, or actually a responsibility for Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya to look into and to help out, especially being that this is their potential star. So I think there's a lot of things that not only the Ortiz camp has to look at, take a step back and look at and try to fix if they can, but also I think Golden Boy, being not just the promoter that has to get his name out there and set up the right fights to continue to build his stardom, but might have to step in as well. Oscar, knowing that he's a fighter, might have to make some recommendations to help him out, if that's possible.
Great points, man. And yeah, this is tough, man. All you guys are making great points in the chat. I even said here, let me highlight this. Boxing Pound for Pound Jack says, only way Vergil fights if he fights at his natural weight, maybe 160. I actually agree with that. I feel like if making 147 pounds, you struggled so badly that you had to be resuscitated, you know,
right?
Maybe 7 pounds is not enough. Maybe 160 is the destination if he's going to continue fighting.
And maybe that has nothing to do with it. Internally in this young man's body, maybe that's not the issue.
Yeah, maybe it's something
else. And I know that he went to an expert and they ran some tests and they said, we figured it out.
Yeah,
going
I remember
once
that.
or twice, going for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. He may have to do something longer than that. And he may have to take a long pause out of his boxing career and lose some of that prime. I don't know. Like I said, I think anybody right now making these assumptions of what he should do, I mean, we're speaking out of turn because we're not there. We don't know what really is going on. They're obviously not going to, open the book and allow us to look into it, right?
Right.
But I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that this is just that he's struggling to make 147 because he's a big kid. But honestly, the underline of that's telling me there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more going on. I think. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but right now, what I've been kind of like looking at, I'm like, it might not just be the weight that's stopping him to step back into that square ring.
Like you said, it might be an internal issue health-wise. Boxing Vitals here says his source is saying that it's his dad that's getting in the way. I've heard that a couple times this week as well. I've heard the same thing. Has his illness caused Vergil permanent damage already? I mean, all this is all speculation coming from us, guys. Nothing has really been released from the Ortizes, right? We've only heard from Oscar and Bernard Hopkins about, yeah, we're just gonna move him up, 154. I don't know, man. I honestly feel like it's just not safe at this point. I don't care what weight it is. I feel like he should definitely just retire, man. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth your life. You guys gave it a hell of a shot, like you said, Dave, so much potential with this young man, he had the makings of a star. He's right there knocking on the door. He was going to fight for the interim WBA title against a fantastic fighter in Stantionis, and it was going to be a great fight. Great style clash. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see it, man. And Vergil
was looking forward to that so much, And again, I wouldn't want to throw rocks at his father because, like I said, I don't know. We don't know. Obviously, there's fighters like Franco. Look what happened in Japan. I saw the announcement. He didn't make weight from Garcia's camp, and I told you, I was like, "Oh, go figure," right? But it turns out to be there was more to that. So you don't really know what's going on with the fighter. It may be out of the hands and control of the trainer / father. So that's why I'm saying I think we need to take a step back and see. As we saw with Franco, he's got he had some issues. Retired out of the sport. We don't know what's going on internally in this kid. We just don't know yet.
We don't know much, man. I know there's some people asking. We don't know, man. Hopefully they come out and say something. And I'm hoping that it's just not another Instagram post with just, letters and words, I'm hoping that they come out and give the fans a thorough explanation on what's going to happen, whether he's going to continue with his career at a higher weight or not, man. But for me, I would just, if that was my son, I'm just speaking from my perspective and my
Right.
opinion. If that was my son, I would just say, let's hang him up, man. I would hate. I mean,
I
look,
think it's
guys,
such a difficult, that's such a, and I hate to be his father, to tell you the truth, because that's such a difficult decision, because you work so hard.
Yep.
Not just the son, Vergil especially worked so hard to get to where they were at, to finally, like, their foot was at the doormat.
They were there, yeah.
They were there. And to just make that decision, like, hey, before exhausting all the sources that they can get to find out, is this fixable? Or what are we doing wrong? What is it that we're doing wrong in the gym? Is that the cause of it? So I just wonder, man, what's going through their minds? What's going through their heads, that they work together to get there, and then to finally hit that wall where they might have to make that decision to close the door and say, hey, we got to walk away. Really, really would suck.
It's a tough decision, no doubt about it, man. And again, guys, I'm only speaking from things that I've experienced. I've had my daughter in the hospital. I've had to call the ambulance for her, to take her to the emergency room. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy. That's all I'm saying from my perspective, man. So let's just see what they decide, man. But like I'm saying, for me, I would just say, let's just call it a career, son, and move on to something else. Maybe a future in commentating. I mean, look, the Zone, they've had God knows who, everyone commentated there. McCaskill, Marlene Esparza. They just had Gabe Rosado this weekend. So why not, man? No point in just moving completely away from the sport. He's got a bunch of knowledge, and he could maybe be a great color analyst for the Zone or any other network, But let's move on, man. We'll wait and see what happens, but let's move on here, man. Boots Ennis has the standout performance of the weekend. Boots, all right, takes on Roiman Villa, all right. Tough kid from Venezuela.
Right.
He had a good win, good come from behind win against Rashidi Ellis in his last outing earlier this year. Give me your thoughts, Dave. A lot of people are saying they feel like Boots is the next big thing. He certainly passes the eye test. You can see the talent. But yeah, what do you think, man? Next big thing?
I don't know if he's next. I don't know if right now if he's the next big thing, but I mean, I think he's the hope of the next big thing. I think he's already passed the eye test. I don't know, 3-4 fights back. Villa obviously was a perfect style for Boots. Perfect. Tailor-made for him. It's unfortunate though that Boots is really that good, and there's really nobody to put up there against them to kind of test them. Off the top of my head, I know Thurman is a name that's been thrown a lot, but I don't know if Thurman's gonna test him. I mean, he's a veteran, but I don't know what's left of Thurman, because to me, he just hasn't been the fighter. Mm-hmm. He's been the vacation guy. He's the guy that I went and rented out my beach house when I was in Long Beach. He was that dude with the flute. Sure. You want a beach view in your bedroom window? Right?
Oh boy, yeah.
Sorry, Thurman. I had to throw that one in there, but yeah, I want to see obviously Boots step up. His name obviously has got to go ahead of Vergil Ortiz Jr. because of what's going on with Vergil. Mm-hmm. So he's the kid right now that you have to look at and say he's the future for the welterweight division. I know I've seen a lot of people on social media already, coining him to be the guy to beat Spence or Crawford. I'm like, whoa, hold on there. We have to see a little bit more. But in all honesty, who else is out there? I mean, if Thurman does fight Ugas, I would love to see Boots get the winner of that. And that to me would get me a little step more closer of where he's at of fighting the top three guys. Because Ugas would have to be the third top guy in that division.
Yeah, I agree, man. Let's see, Bilito Ramirez here says Boots should fight Stantionis. I mean, that's a possibility. Although he's already got to the top of the IBF rankings, Boots that is. But I mean, hey, it could be made in the meantime. Larry, listen here, says Boots look extremely good against Roiman Villa. One thing I will say though is that the criticism is true. Roiman Villa was tailor made for Boots, and Rashidi would have been a harder matchup. I agree with that. You know, this is exactly what the doctor had ordered for Boots Ennis, especially after fighting Karen Shugashan or something like that was his last name. The guy who just gave him a lot of movement, didn't give him a whole lot to work with.
Right.
A lot of people were, on suicide watch with, oh my God, this guy is not as good as I thought. And so this is exactly what the doctor ordered. Now, not to take anything away from the performance.
No.
He looked fantastic. But again, guys, I always tell you this when I do my breakdowns. Styles make fights. That's why you've seen Boots look not so good against a guy moving around all night. And then we see him look fantastic against a guy who's right there in front of him. Tough guy, known for being durable. But yeah, definitely perfect matchup and exactly what the doctor ordered. And look, if people are getting excited about the kid, look, that's great. Boxing needs more stars, man. Can't just be one guy. I know a lot of the fans out there that just want one guy to sit up at the top, and we know who that is, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with having multiple big stars in the sport, man. That's better for boxing, guys. Okay. And look, I like the kid. I think he's good. I was talking about early 2021, a possible super fight between Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz this year. I was projecting it this year, 2 years in advance. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But that would have been a huge fight. Think about it. If Ortiz had won, Jesus, they'd have both been on their way.
Yeah, they were both on a collision course. Definitely.
Yeah, man. Let's see here. Some people here. Let's see. Ennis looked good, but he fought Villa, not the elite of the division. No, definitely not an elite fighter, but very tough and durable. And again, style matchup perfect. Ramos, maybe Jesus Ramos. I don't know. We'll see, man. Vergil should move to 160. Yeah, we'll see what they do, man. We'll definitely see what they do. We still don't know. Let's see what Larry has to say here. I still see huge potential in Boots, but I want to see him fight against good, slick boxers and another elite welterweight like Ugas, Thurman, or Stantionis. We need a better measuring stick. I throw another name in there, and this is a guy that I've been talking about a lot because he fought on just about every single platform, and that's Mean Machine Kavalaskis, man. That guy will fight anybody, and he's tough, right? We saw him in with Crawford, give Crawford some trouble. There's some, you can make a case he'd knock Crawford down. He fought Vergil Ortiz, hurt Vergil Ortiz early in that fight, gave him some good work. And then he goes on to fight on the PBC next. This guy's fought on every platform. He's a tough guy. I think Boots beats him, but it's a good test. He's got real power. He's got great timing, and he can counterpunch, man. So Boots got to be careful, with a guy like Mean Machine. But I do expect him to beat a Mean Machine. But that's another name that I could throw in the mix for Boots next. If there's nothing else
he should be
there.
Fighting those guys. I mean, if you can't get, because obviously, if the rumors are true about Ugas and Thurman, he's going to be sitting back for another year. So PBC's got to come up with some names that they want to put him in there immediately to keep him fresh, to keep him, there's no ring rust, especially at with the hype that's surrounded with them. You want to keep them. Promoters need to keep their fighters' faces in the face of fight fans, and to win over certain fight fans, and that's how you get him closer to that bill of being the next big thing.
Yeah, and I like, I like the fact that Boots actually went and tried to close the show and did. Got the knockout. Fans.
He was playing with his food, but he was playing with it the right way, which was going for the KO. Exactly.
That's something that Edwin De Los Santos didn't do this weekend. Excuse me, guys. I had something there. But I mentioned that in my post-fight video of him and Joseph Adorno, which was the opening on the PBC card this weekend. I said, look, he won the fight. Good game plan. Force Adorno to come forward. He's not comfortable with doing that. But I don't think he gained any fans with a performance like that.
No.
People were booing in the crowd, and he's a guy that. And remember, Dave, we talked with Samson back in April. We asked him, "What's up with De Los Santos?" And what did he say? Having a hard time getting him fights. Well, guess what?
Should not know. He shouldn't anymore.
Yeah, you might have a more harder time now getting him fights based off of that performance. If you want to get the big names, man, you got to put asses in the seats. And he was already becoming a hot name because he had stopped El Rayo. I mean, why not push for the KO? You had the guy beat thoroughly. Adorno had
there was no
answers.
Right. There was. I mean, and he did look great. He boxed. He showed that he's got some diversity in him, which we always want to see. He showed that, and he delivered, but he didn't close. And the kid that he was facing, we saw he had no answers to anything.
Nothing.
And he literally looked like he was ready to go. Like, hey, just hit me with something big, and I want to end it. I'm not gonna beat you.
He was
mentally beaten.
Mentally checked out around the 6th round, And I said this in my post-fight video. I said, this is the type of performance that De Los Santos should have had against one of the top guys. Save this wrinkle for those type of fights. The ones that are important when the championship is on the line, not when you're deep on the undercard of a Boots Ennis fight card,
Right.
I mean, right here again, you should have kept the momentum rolling. I got this guy frustrated. He can't hit me. I'm boxing his ears off. Okay, now I'm gonna go in there, and I'm just like Diaz told us about possibly sending Bivol out there to go try to stop Canelo. They should have let him go. Hey, go get him. He's done. He's frustrated. He's got nothing. Go get this guy out of there, and let's go home. Let's get another sensational knockout, and let's keep the name going.
Like I told you, when you take a man's soul, the most courteous thing you do is put his body 6 feet down.
Yes.
He didn't do that. Didn't do it.
But overall, I give him an A because he boxed well.
Absolutely.
Boxed fantastic. But again, didn't win any fans over. And that's the problem, man. In the boxing game, if you don't got fans willing to come pay to watch you or watch you on TV, you pretty much got nothing.
I had a compadre text me and he goes, "Is this guy Cuban?"
Yeah, and based off of what I seen from De Los Santos, if I had people over with me Saturday night, I would have been like, "Hey, man, watch this guy. This guy right here, man. He's got power. He goes for the knockout." Boy, I would have looked like shit.
I would have played that song, "Straight Mentirosa" behind you.
Yes,
Straight Mentirosa.
I would have looked like a 5'10" pile of shit. All right, it would have been De Los Santos' fault. Okay, but let's move on, man, to the last topic of the night, guys. And this is a good one. Okay, so in the last week or so, it was reported that Devin Haney of Devin Haney Promotions, sent an offer over to Shakur Stevenson for a fight for the undisputed lightweight crown. The split was 75-25 in Devin Haney's favor. I'm sorry to laugh at that, but that's comical. I'm sorry, Dave. Is that a real offer or what? What do you make of that, man?
I mean, I make it like, if anything, if you can get away with it, why not? To me, that's what a negotiation means. Let's see now. I want to see the counter. I never get too far deep into that rabbit hole about the negotiations of how much is this and how much is that, because I know eventually it's gonna probably even out. One guy's always gonna be not completely happy. It's never going to be a win-win situation. But I agree with Shakur. 25 right now for the fight. In his opinion, like I said many times, it's prize fighting. Mm-hmm. And they don't do this. They don't do this for purely our entertainment. I mean, these guys got to eat too, and there's enough pie on the table to hand out. So I think this is a little bit of Haney playing a little mind game with the youngster as well, trying to make him feel, trying to bring back, in my opinion, Shakur Stevenson to the level he should be believing, which is, you're not the superstar in this one here. You're not the one that's holding all the belts, the leverage. So I'm going to throw this at you. So I'm hoping that they work it out. I don't really see 50-50.
No,
I don't see that happening, but I think there should be a little bit more of a nudge of more percentage going to Shakur Stevenson.
Look, if Haney wants to be the A side in this one, I'm perfectly okay with that. But I'm not,
though.
Yeah, but I'm not okay with 75-25. That is ridiculous. And a couple things that really stuck out to me with this thing, because there's people on YouTube, again, they come up with these fantastic things to say when it comes to stuff like this. But Haney sacrificed to fight Kambosos, so Shakur has to sacrifice. I mean, look, okay, guys, look, let's just think about it like this, okay?
I think there's a huge difference, though.
Yeah,
but I'll let you. Yeah,
you're the fighter's manager, right? They go into negotiations. That side is saying, hey, you know what? My fighter sacrificed to get these belts. Your fighter has to sacrifice. If I'm that fighter's manager, you know what I tell him? Hey, you go fuck yourself, okay? I don't care what your fighter did. My fighter ain't going to do what your fighter did, okay? We're not going to play that game here, okay? That's number one. That is just completely unrealistic, and that never happens when negotiating a fight, okay? Trust me, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But comparing this to, I've heard guys here on YouTube compare this thing to Oscar De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather had to sacrifice. What? I mean, are we saying that Devin Haney is a phenomenal ticket seller, a superstar like Oscar De La Hoya, and Shakur Stevenson has to sacrifice? What on earth? What planet are these guys on, Dave? What the hell is going on around here? Unbelievable, man. Let's read this comment.
Like I said, Haney, in my opinion, took whatever was thrown at him for Kambosos, because of the doubts. For one, he wasn't getting praised. For one, that he looked like any next fight where he got hit hard, he was going to get stopped and taken out of the conversation of being the next thing, right? So Haney had to take this fight to prove his point, which he did it twice. Shakur Stevenson has been groomed as the next big thing by Top Rank.
Yep, he's their top guy.
Yeah, so he's already been gassed up by Top Rank. And we've seen what gassing up by Top Rank can do to certain fighters. Shakur Stevenson is like, I don't need to do that. Why do I need to do exactly what the road work that this guy did, what he paved out for? I don't need to do that. To me, they're both guys that are unproven that they're ticket sellers.
Yes.
But at the same time, I appreciate the fact that, because I strongly believe some fighters need to understand their value. Is it ridiculous for Shakur Stevenson to say, no, I'm not fighting you at 20 or 25%? I have more value than that? I don't think it is. Okay? Because even though they're not proven ticket sellers, I think they're proven that they'll be watched on ESPN.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way with the network. So I think the network will probably step in, because it all depends on what the network's going to buy and how much are they going to buy it for.
Yeah. And that's a tremendous point. I'm just going to ask this guy right here who's saying, G-Funky, stop capping. And he's calling him Shakira, talking all this Haney is easy work, but won't take the risk. We all know these guys won't fight each other. Trust me, brother. They will fight. If there's a legit offer and a promoter buys the fight, yes, they will fight. And I'll ask you this, since I'm capping, right? Let me ask you this, Truth Teller. Haney made the offer, right? He's got his own promotional company, Devin Haney Promotions, right? Where's the fight going to take place? What platform? That's what I want to know. If Haney's sending out contracts, and keep in mind, Haney is a free agent. He's got no promoter at this point, right? Where the fuck's fight going to happen? Devin Haney Promotions TV? Is that a thing or what? Like, what? Where is that? I mean, come on. We all know this fight will not happen unless Top Rank buys the fight, guys. Okay? Let's just keep the shit real. You say that I'm not keeping it real. No, let's keep it real. This fight does not happen on any other platform unless it's on Top Rank. If you think Bob Arum is going to let his top guy walk over to some random platform or wherever the fuck, right, to fight Devin Haney, you're living in a dream world.
And it's really going to have to be 50-50 because Top Rank, I mean, rightfully so. Mm-hmm. A lot of fight fans don't understand this, but a network / promoter, the reason why they don't let their guys cross the street is because they have invested. They gotta get their investment back.
They get that return. Yep.
That return's got to come back. So if they don't see any other way that they can get their return, the last resort would be, okay, let them walk across the street.
Yeah.
But if the counterpartner who lives across the street makes a very lucrative deal, then they will take it. We've seen Top Rank do that before. Like, oh, okay, well, you guys are going to fit the bill for this and that, and it's a lot of I's are going to be dotted. Absolutely. Why not? It's even though I hate it, I'm a boxing guy. I love the sport. I don't really care about the politics and the exchange of hands of monies, but that's a cold reality that boxing is a business first before it is labeled a sport.
That's what we have. That's what we have to do, man. We have to keep that in mind. And we're getting a question here about De Los Santos versus Shakur. I think it's a good fight, man. I mean, I would pick Shakur to beat him, but I think it's a fantastic fight. But yeah, I'm interested to know, Truth Teller. Like, how many TV dates does Devin Haney have on his promotional company? I mean, is this fight going to be like Franco and Ioka, not be televised, or like? Come on, man, let's keep the shit honest. And like you said, Dave, yeah, if these guys are talking some serious money, they'll let somebody cross the street. But a 75-25 split with a fighter that has as a free agent and has no TV dates, not fucking happening. Okay, it's not realistic, guys. This fight only happens on Top Rank, if it ever happens at all. Okay, that's just the bottom line, man. You can say what you want. Look, not telling it like it is, but caps for him. Nello making I have no idea what you mean, but you're not making any sense, man. You tell me where the fight's going to take place. Tell me, with this offer that Haney sent, right? Where is the fight going to happen? Tell me for 75-25. It ain't gonna happen, man. Get the fuck out of here, guys. Look, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm just, again, you just have to see through the bullshit, man. Right? That's not a legit offer. Let's see if they negotiate. Now, I heard that Shakur is going to the WBC and he's trying to mandate the fight through them so that they can have a better purse split than the 75-25, right? And that should be another light bulb boop that bops off in your head to say, yeah, that offer is not realistic, guys. No. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying that Haney's scared or anything like that. I don't know if that's what you think I'm saying, Truth Teller. I'm just saying that offer, not realistic. And it won't happen unless it happens on Top Rank. And that's just the bottom line, man. No, Arum is not going to let Shakur walk.
No, and like I said, there's a lot of mental games that are involved with the sport. And they could be very minor and they could be major. In my opinion, this is Haney's way of getting underneath the skin of Shakur Stevenson.
Playing some games, possibly.
Playing games with them, I mean, because you got to have the edge on everything. And if Haney could win on controlling the purse bid, he's got to win a notch under his belt with that. Okay. Now, you got to remember, these are athletes. They're competitive on everything. On everything. If there was a pissing contest, Haney would say, Haney would be like, my stream was longer and louder than yours, Shakur. And Shakur would be like, yeah, but it sounded like, mine sounded like a bucket of water dumping into the toilet. And that's where I try to remind folks that your mind frame of thinking as a normal person does not compare to the thinking of an athlete,
Yep.
a competitive athlete at that. It's just completely different. So that's why I never buy into the narratives of this guy's crazy or, oh man, he's ducking him and he's doing this and he's doing that, because see, you're weak-minded. That's why you're not involved in the game. You're easy to be triggered by this shit. These guys know what they're doing, man. They know what they're saying, you know. And I'm pretty sure it's Shakur Stevenson. He's sitting back and enjoying the build up to it, because also it's making people want to tune in and watch the two guys try to beat the shit out of each other. It's more intriguing, honestly, when you have these certain type of tactics, you know. And you know, I know a lot of people that get emotionally invested in that. I want this guy to get his ass kicked because he made it hard for so and so to sign the fight.
Look at this. Look at this troll here. Now you're trolling, man. I got to call you out. So now I'm saying it's okay letting Black American fighters use business as an excuse, but hate on Canelo. Okay,
what do you mean?
Tell me when I hate on. Tell me when I hated on Canelo. I know
always hate on Canelo, bro.
Yeah, I know any little criticism, right? Anything against the guy is considered hate. But you tell me where I hated on Canelo. In any
Are we
kind
talking
of
about the?
Right? Tell me.
I think he's talking about how many people have been hating on Canelo about his accepting of fighting Charlo.
Charlo? Yeah.
When I thought it was a great business move for him, you know, because here's the thing about Canelo, and I don't know why so many people are so surprised that a guy's jumping up in weight. Canelo's done that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's no surprise. The only difference of what Canelo did with this fight here by fighting Charlo is that he in the past, when he was 154 and even 160, he was making guys that resume was already gone. It was done. They weren't complete fighters anymore. This Charlo that he's facing, the 154 pounder, is a dog in him. There's a dog in that kid.
It's considered the better of the two.
The better of the two. I'm a bigger fan of him. I've never understood why he's not on the pound per pound list. Why is he not?
And the more accomplished.
Right, the more accomplished guy, and he's taking a bite of history by doing this. If you praise Mikey Garcia for jumping up and weight to fight Errol Spence Jr., you gotta praise Charlo
for doing it. Yeah,
for doing the same thing. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know. But business is business. I can never hate on what Canelo's doing business wise, but I can't expect every fan to be okay with it. Because obviously there was a lot of folks, and even, you know, fighters themselves were more anticipating and more in wanting to see Benavidez get his shot. Didn't happen. That's boxing.
It is.
Let's see down the line. Right. Let's see down the line. And look, I've always said this: fight fans want everything today. If it was up to us, every potential great fight that we thought could be great would happen in a span of a week.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'd be all out of fights in probably less than a month. But look, I said it when Samson came out and said, look, we're moving on. You know, the fight's not going to happen. I said, look, he's going to fight someone that he feels is more lucrative than Benavidez at this point. That's business. That's not hating. That's just keeping it real. He feels like fighting the Charlos, right, is a more lucrative thing than taking on Benavidez. You know, I personally want to see the Benavidez fight because I think it's a fantastic fight. Not happening. Hey, I'm not going to cry over it. I'm not going to come on here and yell and scream into this microphone a week straight because I don't get what I want. Okay, that's just not what happens around here, man. Okay, one more time we'll read it and then we're going to wrap this thing up. They see, I'm just saying, give Canelo props for his business choice. If you don't call out Shakur and Haney ducking each other, okay, again, they're not ducking each other, man. Why do you think Shakur is going to the WBC to enforce the mandatory on Haney, right? Do you know what happens when you have a mandatory in the sanctioning bodies? Guess what? If they don't make the fight happen, and it's going to happen on Top Rank, I'm telling you right now, if they don't make the fight happen and it's ordered by the WBC, Haney's not undisputed anymore. He's going to have to drop that belt if he decides to stay at 135. And Shakur's going to fight somebody else for the vacant title. or Haney will move up to fight Regis Prograis, and God knows where on the dead zone, wherever the fuck they're gonna fight at. But that's what's gonna happen here. So they want to fight each other. I know they want to fight each other. It's just they gotta negotiate it, and again, they gotta bring
There's
a
got to be
legit
enough
offer
money
to
in
the
it.
table.
Right.
Exactly.
There's
Got
got
to
to
make
be
a legit
enough
offer.
money. You know, going back with Canelo, you know, Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson ducking, and I mean that could be said too. I mean, you're hearing guys saying that Canelo ducked Benavidez. They could have made this X amount of money, but the longevity of what Canelo's kind of trying to do, he's making more money than that, rather than just putting all his eggs in one basket. So it's how you look at it. You know, I don't think any fighter ducks each other. It just,
No.
Again, they're prize fighters. I don't know why that's so difficult to understand. They are prize fighters.
You know, it's funny if you ask any of these guys in the chat and any of the guys that watch this after we're over, if you ask them if they're scared of any man on walking this face of the earth, I'm not scared of anyone. I'll fight anyone. But the guys that actually fight for a living, they're scared, right? You see how that works, man? It's silly, man. It's silly.
Of course.
So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. This has been a fantastic show. Dave, let us know what's up, man, where they can find you and all that good stuff, man.
Always can find me on Leaving the Ring, man. Always there on Twitter. You know, you can find me there. You can go to the YouTube channel, wherever. You can also reach me at leavingthering@gmail.com. I always respond back to anybody that writes me there, and you know, all that good stuff. But you can always find me here with G Funky.
That's right, man. That's right. And we're gonna be bringing in some more guests real soon, guys. I'm gonna be ramping up, man. Gonna be ramping up the videos for the big fight, and I am getting big fight feeling, if you know what I'm talking about, Dave, for the July 29th Undisputed Showdown, Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford. It's a fight that we've all been asking for years, guys.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk. I thought you were going to bring up what's his name, the YouTuber kid that's fighting the MMA guy. You know?
Oh boy, yeah. But look, guys, purchase the fight, man. Okay, let's bring boxing back. Let's. I mean, it felt so good seeing that million plus pay-per-view buys for the Tank Ryan, and I know that there was no belt on the line for purists like myself, but let's put boxing on top, man. Let's put boxing back where it used to be, man. And again, these are the fights that we asked for, right? I was very disappointed in the fact that nobody bought Benavidez versus Plant, because that's a fight. We talked about it. We did a prediction show a few days before the fight happened. We're like, this is a grudge match. This is an old-fashioned grudge match, a fight that we wanted for a long time. Why not support the fights that we want? And this is one that we want, man. So let's fucking pay for this fight. Invite your friends, man. Throw a fight party. That's what I used to do all the time. I'm going to have some people here at my place watching it. I'm going to have a great fucking time, guys. And I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to be doing some film studies on it, man. So make sure that you guys stay tuned for that. But like I said, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Getting late for us. Thank you all. I want to thank our guest, Joel Iriarte, for coming on. We'll keep an eye on that young man, see how he does. And we will see you guys on the next one. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure you check out my guy, Leaving in the Ring. We're out of here. See you guys on the next one.